Happy Wednesday to everybody. First, say goodbye to Zach. Been a true pro for the LA Times and wish him nothing but the best. Appreciate you, buddy, for all your professionalism and wish you nothing but the best as you go to New York. A true pro, just like the LA Times and the LA media always do. Good practice for us. Looking forward to getting on the plane and getting up to Santa Clara. Finalized a red zone plan today. Kids are in good spirits. It's really a great week of work by them, and I know they're excited for this championship game against Stanford. Injury status is the exact same as yesterday, so any questions that you have, we'll knock out.
Well, thanks, Clay.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Hawkins was talking yesterday about some of the lessons that he takes from Christian McCaffrey's performance against the defense 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that you've stressed or will stress in preparation this week?
Yeah, Christian was such a special player. Now you look at Bryce Love, and he's doing similar things, both as a runner and out of the backfield. And it's one of those things that I think that David's always had a tremendous back that is multi-purpose, of guys that not only do you got to try to get them on the ground, but I remember being in this game 2 years ago and being matched up man-to-man on Christian on a third down in the third quarter with the lead, and then all of a sudden he takes it a long way. Credit to those kids, because I think they make it hard on defenses by being so multi-purpose.
2 years ago when you played them, that was the same week you had been named the permanent head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that week being chaotic at all? I imagine there were a lot of stuff going on.
I remember that whole year being chaotic. It's just, I remember going and saying, I had a lot of balls to juggle at that time. Just being a coordinator, being a play caller, being a game planner, but trying to be a head coach, and just getting named. There were so many things going on, and it taught me a valuable lesson to really trust the men that are around you, to delegate authority to true professionals and let them do their thing. They're great at what they do, and that trust that I learned from that game when I walked away, I purposely said, hey, get men around you that you trust, both players and coaches, and allow them to be great. And you don't have to do everything yourself.
Where do you see your team now compared to where they were at that time?
A lot more mature. Our culture, I think, is really over the last 2 years, from the family bond, the brotherhood, them playing for each other. There's not a lot of individuals on this football team. They win games because they're one organism working together. But that family culture, I think, is the biggest thing that I take away over the last 2 years of them playing together as one team rather than individuals.
You guys are averaging about 100 yards more throwing the ball than running the ball per game, and yet everybody seems to want to sell out to stop the run. I mean, they're coming at you.
Yeah.
How does that work in your mind when you think, Colorado, UCLA, they're just bringing everybody and they're kind of saying, go ahead and throw it?
I think when you have the four backs that we have and you're averaging near 200 yards a game, you're going to try to, just like we do, you try to make the quarterback win the game, because runners and offensive line very rarely have bad days. Sometimes you'll catch a quarterback having a bad day. But I think that when you force a team to be one-dimensional, it's a lot harder to move the ball. In this league, there are some dang good quarterbacks, really good receivers, but we lean on stopping the run first, running the ball, stopping the run, playing great special teams, and not turning it over. That's usually a winning formula.
So what has to happen for this team to get back to where you were running the ball against Stanford the first time, as opposed to, say, the UCLA game or the...
I think we've been running the ball really good here lately. I mean, if you look at it, I don't check me on this, but I think Rojo's had a 100-yard rushing game basically all in November, and that's what you want. There are going to be times that you're going to have 160 instead of 300 plus. Those are rare days. I mean, I've always said that number for us. I hope that we can, if you have 200 yards rushing, 300 yards passing, that type of balance, man, you're a powerful offense and a dangerous offense. That balance is something that Stanford's doing right now. And when you look at it, the addition of KJ Costello and what he did for Stanford Stanford in the last game with 4 touchdown passes plus a good running game. It just makes you harder to defend when you're not one-dimensional. So that run's got to go for us.
Lynn has said that he evaluates teams kind of on championships and wanting to win Pac-12 championships and eventually national championships. Do you enter this game kind of feeling like it's like pass-fail for the season when you go into like a Pac-12 championship game like that? Is that fair way to assess it?
Expectations when you're at USC or championships, I know that going in. As far as that's our goal each and every year. It doesn't mean that you haven't progressed as a football team. You know, when you look at back-to-back 10-win seasons, when you look at you weren't in this game last year and now you are, you know, to be able to have 2 undefeated seasons in the Coliseum, 2 back-to-back Novembers undefeated, you're providing consistency within a program and you're taking steps forward, and that's what I want to see each and every year. Do I want to win a championship every year? Yeah, that's ingrained in you as a Trojan, and you don't like it when it doesn't happen. So, you know, going into this game, each and every one of us want to win a championship because that's who we are. We're Trojans. That's what we expect from the coaches to the players to the fans to the boosters to the administration, and that's what we expect to go into. Will we be disappointed if we lose? Yeah, I think all of us will. But I am proud of the steps that are being taken over the last 2 years moving forward. There's progress that has been made.
Well, people have been talking about how Stanford is going to be a better team than the last time we saw them.
Mm-hmm.
How have we grown specifically this season?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I talked a little bit about how I think our skill positions have so much improved, you know, from a Tyler Vaughn's developing to a Michael Pittman coming on the scene, plus the health of some guys, Stephen Mitchell being healthy, Daniel Mortabebe being healthy, some young offensive linemen growing up, Andrew Voorhees, Austin Jackson, Clayton Johnston, those guys have played significant reps this year. So I think that's been the biggest growth for me, is you want to be able to see at the start of the season, did your kids get better? Did your young players get better? And that's what I've seen throughout this season. I think it's one of the reasons that you look up and, you know, you've got 10 wins for only the 16th time in the history of the school out of 125 years, you know, is the development of younger players. That's why they put coach in front of your name.
Sam, the last time you guys played Stanford, had probably one of his better games of the year. When you rewatched that game, what do you think that was? Was it just him? Was it a matchup? What clicked for him?
I think really it was what Dan said earlier. The run game went, and it provided some one-on-one matchups. I mean, it was you looked up, and all of a sudden it was one-on-one drill all over the park as far as throwing the ball, and that's not a lot of confusion for a quarterback, you know, to be able to say, okay, hey, there's my wide receiver, there's a DB on him, there's nobody else, it's him on an island. That makes a clear picture for him. So when you're able to run the ball like that, it usually provides you with an effective quarterback. All righty, guys. Y'all are awesome. Take care. Have a great night.
All right, thanks.
Brother.